All right. Welcome everyone to this deep dive all about blockchain development in 2025. It's a booming world, and we're going to help you figure out how to become a blockchain developer. Doesn't matter if you're just starting out or already a coding pro.
That's right. Whether you're, just starting to learn those programming basics or maybe you're already building complex applications, there's definitely a spot for you in this space.
I like that. So picture this, right? You're a blockchain developer building the future, writing all that code. But where do you even start? Like, what's the first step?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is you've got to kind of figure out like what path you want to take, right? Do you want to be like the architect, the one who designs the foundations of the whole system, or are you more like the builder, the one creating those applications that everyone's going to use?
Okay, I'm getting intrigued here. So let's unpack these two paths. First, the architects, the core developers. What's their deal?
Core developers, these are like the hardcore computer science folks. They're deep in the code, like making sure the protocols are working, the whole system is secure, tamper-proof, all that good stuff.
High stakes. So someone's listening and they're like, yeah, that's me. I want to build the foundation of this whole blockchain revolution. What skills should they be learning? What do they need to know?
Well, first off, they need like a super solid understanding of computer science fundamentals, right? So algorithms, data structures, all that. And then they got to really master languages like C++, Rust, Go.
Whoa, those are not your average website building languages, are they?
Not quite. These are designed for like real power and performance. This is, the backbone of the whole system.
I'm sensing like these core developers, they're the ones who love getting into the nitty gritty. But um, what if someone's more into like the stuff people actually see and use, the applications?
That's where our software developers come in. They're the builders, right? They take that framework that the core developers have, painstakingly created, and they turn it into those decentralized applications, the dApps, and all those cool smart contracts we keep hearing about.
dApps and smart contracts. This is where blockchain gets real for a lot of folks, I think.
Yeah,
What kind of skills do you need for that?
still got to have that programming foundation, but you'll be focusing more on languages like JavaScript. That's a big one, both front end and back end development. And Solidity, which is like the key to creating those smart contracts on platforms like Ethereum.
Okay, hold on. Self-executing contracts. That sounds a little uh, futuristic. Can we break that down a bit?
Sure, imagine a vending machine, right? You put in some crypto instead of dollars, and boom, the smart contract checks if you've met the conditions, and then it just, automatically does what it's supposed to transfer ownership, release funds, whatever.
That's a cool way to think about it. So,
hmm
no more middlemen, huh? Like no lawyers, agents.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Trust, transparency, all built into the code. And Solidity is the language that makes it happen.
Okay, so Solidity is kind of a big deal then, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you want to build those groundbreaking dApps that change the world.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful tool to have in your toolbox. But, whether you're aiming for core developer or software developer, there are these like fundamental skills that apply to both.
You're talking about things like data structures, algorithms, all that good stuff.
Right. Stuff that makes your code efficient, elegant, ready for anything.
But why are these so crucial, specifically for blockchain?
Well, think about it. Blockchain runs on decentralized network. So, things are spread across lots of computers. Everything has to be optimized. You don't want your dApp running like it's on dial-up.
Makes sense. No one wants that. So, whatever you're building, those solid programming skills, those are the foundation, like building a house.
Yeah.
Got to have that solid structure before you add all the cool stuff on top.
Exactly. And then, building on that foundation, there are a few, more specific skills that are important depending on which path you choose.
Oh, tell me more. I'm all ears.
So for those core developers, the ones focused on security, they need to really dive deep into cryptography. They've got to understand like how to make that system unhackable.
So they're not just building the foundation. They're making sure it's like Fort Knox level security. Impressive. What about the software developers? What specific skills do they need?
They need those front end and back end skills, both sides of the coin. Remember, they're the ones bridging that gap between all the complex blockchain stuff and the like everyday user.
They got to make it user friendly, right? Because even if the technology is amazing, if no one can use it, then what's the point?
That's it. They got to have that design sense, that user experience knowledge. They're the ones making blockchain accessible to everyone.
Okay, so we've talked about, the two main types of developers, the core and the software. But What about the actual tools and technologies they use? Like, what's in their toolkit?
Well, first off, you have these development frameworks. Think of them like pre-built scaffolding. They just make building and testing applications way more efficient. Popular ones are like Truffle and Hardhat, especially when you're working with those smart contracts.
So it's like having a set of blueprints and pre-made parts to speed things up. What else?
Yeah. And then you've got libraries, which are like collections of pre-written code for those common tasks, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Libraries like Web3.js, Ether.js, those are really important for connecting those like traditional web applications to the whole blockchain world.
So libraries are like translators then, making sure everything can talk to each other.
Pretty much. And then there's, kind of the behind the scenes stuff, technologies like Docker for containerization and AWS for cloud hosting.
Docker, AWS. I'm noticing, like, a lot of the tools here, they're not just for blockchain, are they? They're used in other parts of software development, too.
That's true. Blockchain development, it really builds on a lot of existing technologies. So that's why having those solid software development skills is so important.
Okay, so we've got the skills, we've got the tools. Now let's talk languages. Which programming languages are the big ones in blockchain? Like, if someone wants to get into this, where should they focus their energy?
Well, if you want to be like multilingual in the blockchain world, you got to start with JavaScript. It's used for like everything here, front end, back end. It's like your passport to the whole blockchain universe.
Makes sense. JavaScript is, well, it's everywhere. What other languages should people have on their radar?
We've already talked about Solidity, right? That's the language of smart contracts, especially on Ethereum. And then there's Rust, which is like known for its speed and security, real high performance.
Rust. That's the one that's a bit tricky to learn, right? Super powerful, but maybe not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it's got a steeper learning curve for sure. But
Yeah.
for those who really want to like be on the cutting edge, it's worth it. And of course, you can't forget about Python.
Ah, good old Python.
Yeah.
Always reliable, so versatile. What makes it so great for blockchain, though?
Well, it's really good for like back-end integration, scripting, data analysis, all that stuff behind the scenes that keeps things running smoothly.
So we've got JavaScript for, just overall flexibility, Solidity for those smart contracts,
Mhm.
Rust for like pure speed and security, and Python for being, well, Python. Amazing. So let's say someone's listening and they're ready to jump in. What's the roadmap to success here? How do you go from, total newbie to blockchain master?
First things first, you got to lay that foundation, right? Solid programming fundamentals. Pick a language like Python or JavaScript, get really comfortable with it.
So build those coding muscles no matter which path you're on. Core developer, software developer, got to have that base.
Yep. And then once you've got that, it's time to, dive into the world of blockchain itself.
Blockchain 101, right. Understanding how it all works, mining,
Mm-hmm.
consensus mechanisms, cryptography, all those fascinating concepts.
Exactly. You need that theoretical background. And then once you've got that, you can start exploring those smart contracts.
This is where things start to get, really interesting. It's where you see, the magic of blockchain come to life.
It is. Smart contracts are behind so much of what's happening, DeFi, NFTs, even the metaverse.
This is where Solidity comes in, right? Time to start writing those self-executing agreements.
Yeah. There are platforms like Ethereum Remix. It's like a digital playground where you can experiment with Solidity, write some simple contracts, get your hands dirty.
I like that. Digital playground. Sounds like a great way to learn by doing.
It is. And then once you've got a handle on those contracts, it's time to level up and build your first decentralized application, a dApp.
Now we're talking, putting all the pieces together.
Yeah.
Front end, back end, blockchain integration. It's like building your own high-tech Lego set.
For the front end, a framework like React.js is a great choice. And then for that blockchain integration, you'll probably be using a library like Web3.js. That's what connects your app to the blockchain.
So you're building that user-friendly interface and then using these libraries to connect it to all the blockchain magic happening behind the scenes.
Precisely. And once you've built that dApp, you're really on your way. But the learning, it never really stops in this field.
You got to keep moving, right?
Mhm.
In tech, if you're standing still, you're falling behind. So how do blockchain developers stay ahead of the curve? How do they keep leveling up?
One of the best ways is to contribute to open source projects. Platforms like GitHub, they're full of, amazing blockchain projects that are always looking for passionate developers to help out.
It's like an apprenticeship almost, right?
Mm.
Working with those experienced developers, getting feedback, contributing to something that's actually being used out there in the world.
Yeah. And it's not just about, learning, it's about giving back, helping to build this technology that's really changing things. But even if you're constantly learning blockchain, it's just this field that's always evolving.
Right. What's hot today might be old news tomorrow. That's part of the excitement, though. So what are some of the hot new areas that are emerging in blockchain? What should developers be keeping an eye on?
One area that's just exploding is decentralized finance, DeFi.
DeFi, I hear that everywhere. So it's all about like creating a new financial system, right?
Mhm.
More open, transparent, all that.
Exactly. Think, decentralized exchanges, lending platforms, stable coins, all without those traditional financial middlemen.
Cutting out the banks, the brokers,
Eh.
putting the power in the hands of the people. Sounds pretty revolutionary.
It is. And for developers, DeFi is like, a gold mine. Tons of new projects popping up all the time, all needing talented people to build them.
So if you're a developer who wants to like shake things up, change the world, DeFi is the place to be. What else is exciting out there? What else should we be paying attention to?
Another really interesting area is the world of NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
NFTs, they're like digital fingerprints, right? You can own unique digital assets, art, music, even virtual real estate.
You got it. And it's not just about owning things, it's about, proving ownership, creating scarcity in the digital world. It's
Yeah.
attracting everyone, artists, musicians, game developers, entrepreneurs. Everyone's excited about the possibilities.
It's like this fusion of art and technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blockchain is changing how we create, own, and share things online. It's mind-blowing. We got to talk about the metaverse.
The metaverse is definitely a hot topic, and for good reason. It's this, convergence of virtual reality, augmented reality, blockchain, all coming together to create these, immersive worlds.
It's like stepping into a sci-fi novel.
Mhm.
But what does this mean for blockchain developers? Like, where are the opportunities there?
Imagine building virtual worlds where you can, truly own digital assets. Not just a picture of a sword, but the actual sword itself, tracked and secured on the blockchain. You can create, buy, sell, trade, all within these virtual spaces.
It's like taking NFTs to a whole other level.
Yeah.
From just owning things to actually using them, interacting with them in these virtual environments.
Exactly. And that's just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
The metaverse is going to change how we work, play, socialize, learn everything.
Wow. So for developers who want to build the future, create those next level experiences, the metaverse is definitely calling. But what about the business world? Are there opportunities for blockchain developers outside of these more flashy areas, DeFi, NFTs, metaverse?
For sure. Businesses are, quietly embracing blockchain, and that's creating a big demand for developers who can, build those solutions.
So it's not just about the hype. Blockchain is actually being used to solve real-world problems for businesses.
Yep. Private blockchains. So, blockchains designed for specific organizations are being used to streamline operations, improve security, reduce costs. Platforms like Hyperledger Fabric are leading the way there.
So if you're a developer who likes solving those practical problems, helping businesses operate more efficiently, private blockchains are definitely worth exploring.
And it's not just about the tech, right? You need to understand those business needs, bridge the gap between the tech world and the corporate world.
Okay, we've talked about all these hot areas, DeFi, NFTs, the metaverse, private blockchains. But let's get practical here. Where are the jobs? Which companies are actually hiring? Where should our listeners be sending those resumes?
Well, Ethereum is always a good place to start. It's the biggest, most established platform. They're always looking for talent.
Ethereum is like the heart of it all, right? So much innovation happening there. Where else should people be looking?
Solana is another one to watch. They're known for their, high-performance blockchain. They attract those developers who really want to push the limits, build those super fast, high-traffic applications.
So if you're all about speed, Solana is the place to be. But go back to Ethereum for a second. It's amazing, but it can be slow and expensive, right?
Yeah, that's true. And that's where Polygon comes in. They're building those layer 2 solutions that basically sit on top of Ethereum and make it faster, cheaper, and more scalable.
Polygon's like the efficiency expert, making Ethereum even better. What about those companies focused on private blockchains for businesses?
Hyperledger is the big one there. They're developing those enterprise-grade platforms that companies are using all over the world.
Okay, so we've got Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, Hyperledger. It's a pretty impressive list. And it's just the beginning, right?
Absolutely. The blockchain space is growing so fast. New companies and projects are like popping up every day.
So there are tons of opportunities out there for talented developers. It's amazing. We've covered a lot here. The types of developers, the skills, the tools, the languages, the trends, even where to find those jobs. It's a lot, but that's what makes this field so exciting, right?
It really is. Blockchain is so dynamic, full of opportunities for those who are willing to, learn and adapt.
So as we start to wrap things up here, what's like the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
What's fascinating about blockchain is that it's becoming less about the technology itself and more about like the applications it unlocks. Think about what you're passionate about. What problem do you want to solve? Could blockchain be the tool to do that?
That's such a great point. It's not just about the code. It's about using this incredible technology to make a real difference.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so inspiring.
So for anyone out there who's feeling inspired, who's, ready to dive in, what's your advice? Where do they begin? Just start exploring. Pick a language, try out Solidity, play around with those smart contracts, build a simple dApp. There's like tons of resources online. And don't be afraid to like dive into those exciting fields we talked about, DeFi, NFTs, metaverse. See what grabs you.
Yeah. The blockchain community is really great, very welcoming. Lots of people who are happy to help out, answer questions. Don't be shy. Share what you're working on, connect with others.
It's all about learning from each other.
Yep, right.
So even if it feels a little overwhelming at first, all this tech stuff, don't let it intimidate you.
Yeah,
Take it slow, find your people, and most importantly, have fun.
exactly. Blockchain development, it can be tough, but it's also super rewarding. You're not just building like an app,
Yeah.
You're building the future.
I love that. So to all our listeners out there who are ready to jump in, you know, get out there, start building, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one creating the next big thing, the next amazing dApp, the next groundbreaking protocol, the next mind-blowing metaverse experience.
We'll be watching.
That wraps up our deep dive into the world of blockchain development. We hope you learned something, maybe got a little inspired, and maybe even sparked a little bit of a life change. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep exploring the amazing world of blockchain.